I was recently a guest on the She's Brave podcast, and Kristina and I had a conversation on there that I really wanted to share with you all. It was about how to stop procrastinating, how to actually keep momentum going, and some of the things that block us and different ways to be thinking about things rather than I just can't get myself motivated, or I wish I could, or I'm always late doing that. So these are really valuable mindset shifts and ways to look at things differently so you actually start taking action from a joyful, pleasurable place of the things that you really want to do and give you energy. So enjoy this episode and let me know how it is for you.
Welcome to the Shift Your Vibe to Thrive podcast. My name is Emily Evans Russell, and I'm a single mom, multiple six-figure business owner, and master mindset and energy coach. I created this podcast with two main targets. One, to give you practical tools so that no matter where you are in your life right now, you not only know that things can shift, but you know how to make them greater. And two, to change your frequency so that you become an energetic match for everything you desire. I'm talking your relationships, your finances, your success, all of it. Think of this podcast as your weekly energetic upgrade with a mix of subconscious mind hacks, ways to quantum leap, and consciousness shifts. A place where you learn to sculpt your reality and actually finally truly have the magical life you deserve and one that works for uniquely you. Are you ready to uplevel your reality? I think I hear yes, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Thank you so much for being here. And now let's go to the show.
Hey everyone, it's Kristina with the She's Brave podcast. Woo! I'm just so psyched today, you guys, because today's guest is such a special human being. Her name is Emily Russell, and she's an energy and a mindset coach. And before you guys say, wait a minute, whoa, what is this? What the heck is this thing? Just open yourself up. Open yourself up to this because she's got a lot of really cool tools to help improve your life. Today, we're going to be talking about momentum, how to get it back if you've lost it, self-sabotage. It happens to all of us. Mindset, procrastination. We're going to talk about it all. Emily is amazing. Welcome, Emily.
Woo! Thank you. That is an intro. Thank you. And it's so funny when you say I'm an energy coach, I'm like, but that's energy. Like the energy you're just being in that intro, it's what we all speak. Like we may think it's woo-woo. I think it's a little less woo-woo now because everybody's talking about it. But
Sure.
It's really that. It's like we jump on here, people are listening. There's an energy we're being that we all pick up on. That's it. And
Yeah. And we know it works. I had a guest 6 months ago who was talking about how before you enter a big room with people, like you're in a Chamber of Commerce meeting, you're nervous, you're just feeling kind of edgy, check yourself, open up yourself, put a smile on your face, and just send some love into the room, and then open the door and walk in and see what happens. And even if you don't believe in energy, that works. We all know that works, right? It doesn't matter. Putting yourself in a positive mindset, other people sense it, and then everything gets better, right?
And it reminds me of that quote I've seen a lot. I don't know who this originated from, but it's that the most relaxed person in the room is the most powerful.
Oh, okay. I got to interrupt you here. That's so funny you say this because this particular person who I interviewed, her name's Jen Roth. She's a clarity coach. And I met her at a podcasting class in LA and went to dinner with her and 10 other people. She was the quietest person in the room. And she sat right next to me. And at the end of the dinner, I was just there's something about this person that is incredibly powerful. She's also the CEO of an incredibly successful tea company, but that's a whole nother story. But that's funny that you say that. Yeah. Tell us more. Tell us more. I'm sorry I'm butting in
But
here.
you notice, no, it's a great story because what you notice when you're the most relaxed, you're also in a very receptive state.
I love it.
And so you're receiving all of the information that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we often think in big groups that
Yep.
we need to be the one pushing and I need to prove I'm smart or I need to be interesting for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Other than when you're relaxed And in that
Mhm.
receptive state, you find out, you asking questions, you're curious,
Mhm.
you're finding out about other people, and you make them feel seen too, because you're
Mhm.
actually curious and present in a different way.
Mhm. Mhm.
And in that space, when you're receiving all of that awareness and
Mhm.
energy, that is so powerful because you're basically bigger and expanded and get to engage with everybody and not just in your own small world. That story is great. It's a great example of that.
It really is. And I'm going to go to the holiday space a little bit because your episode is going to be airing in December during the holiday season when a lot of people are feeling not very grounded and can have I will admit I'm one of them that can easily get swept up in the chaos and lose the groundedness, especially during the holidays. And I think that what you just said was a great reminder.
Yeah. I mean, I think holidays is a great example. We often say we have the day we're going for, whatever day that is. We all celebrate different holidays where
Yep.
you finally get to arrive and relax, right? That's the target.
Yep.
But the thing is, we don't arrive at Z with relaxation if we've been choosing X and Y from total frantic and ungroundedness.
Yeah.
Every choice you're making in the present is actually creating what's going to show up in the future. But we've been trained to go, oh, if I can just get through this, then I'll be happy. Then I'll be relaxed. Then I'll be,
Yeah.
and that's actually the opposite. We have to
Mhm.
make a conscious choice,
Mhm.
even if it's taking like 30 seconds or a minute to
Mhm.
go, if I would like relaxation on that day, what can I give myself right now that gives me that feeling in my body? What I would call energy, but we sense it with our bodies, right? So it
Mhm.
is taking a moment to feel your feet on the floor. Like
Yep.
if anyone who's listening right now, if you're not like driving or walking around, but even if you're walking, like feel your feet on the floor and get in touch with that sensation of there's earth underneath there, that
Mhm.
groundedness. Sometimes I put my hand on my belly or my chest and just take a moment to take a deep breath in and then
Mhm.
exhale. And even slightly, if you made a little, that tells the body we're safe and relaxed. Or even a slightly longer exhale does the same thing. Now, we have a lot to do during the holidays. So we might not be able to choose that all day. That's okay.
Yeah.
Still
I
have it.
love that permission too, because we can so easily beat ourselves up for saying, oh my gosh, like I just lost it again. And it's going to happen no matter what, sometimes, you know?
Yeah, and it does not about, "Okay, now I have to be perfectly relaxed or perfectly grounded." It's like, no,
Mhm.
take a moment with yourself. If you can do
Yeah.
it, that's great. And then if later
Yeah.
you think about it again and do another 30 seconds, what you're doing is you're acknowledging, like, I don't wanna just keep waiting for a destination that somehow is magically supposed to be perfect or better than where I am now. Like,
Yeah.
enjoy the day. You might have a bazillion things on your holiday list. Okay. But
Mhm.
in that mix, add in something that gives you the feeling that you would like to experience today, that you wanna see on your holiday, that you wanna see in the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so beautifully said. And I'm always learning. I'm always taking classes, and I'm taking a class with a local friend actually in my town. And she was talking last Sunday about our heart is actually an electric current. It is, right? Like it's electrical. And I never really understood why putting my hand on my heart when I'm trying to slow down and take a deep breath, why that's so incredibly powerful for me. But I think it's the electric current of the heart that kind of goes through the hands and through the body. And it's, you guys, if you haven't done that before, just give it a go. Just put your hand on your heart if you're feeling a little bit discombobulated and see how that goes. Okay, well, we've got so much to unpack today, but I kind of wanted to throw in a little bit of holiday wisdom there. Okay, so I want to start with a quote that you said. You said, many of us are taught that if you just push through now, notice the have to obligation and no joy energy, that you'll arrive where you want to go. Yet that's the opposite of how it works. Tell us more.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great example of what we were just talking about. But let's look at expand beyond the holidays. I think I know I have done this. Like, I can be a great hard worker. And we've been taught if I just work hard enough and juggle enough balls, then I'll finally make enough at my job or I'll finally feel the freedom that I'm putting all this work in for. But actually what we're doing, and every day we wake up and we throw ourselves into effort and struggle and like, I'll just get through this. That is what creates the future. So a lot of us end up going after, maybe it's a job, maybe it's the amount of money we want to create, maybe it's a relationship, and then getting there and wondering, wait, this isn't actually what I wanted. It's a lot of stress. It's the things we chose earlier that actually create that. And that's where I think this real feeling of disappointment can occur of, but I put in all the work to get here. And now that I'm here, I'm not even satisfied. And it's because that whole premise is the opposite of really how it works. Let's look at, how do you want your life to be like? How do you want to feel? Because if we're asking for that job or an amount of money, it's usually not about that. It's about how it's going to make us feel. Like,
Totally agree.
that's what we're going for it, right? So what is that feeling? And it's different for all of us. Some of us want to feel really creative or really enthused or really relaxed or very satisfied. And that's a question to ask yourself. What do I desire to feel? What's the energy of the life I would like to have in 5 years, in 10 years? That's so far out, your brain can't figure that one out, but you know that feeling and you know that energy. And then if you start choosing that today, that's where you'll end up. So you're not burnt out. So you don't arrive at this great, beautiful thing that feels like a trap or you don't have the freedom. It's like we got to choose that feeling in the present day. And that's okay. I'm going to choose business and I'm going to work today, but I'm not going to choose from obligation or have to energy because I don't want my life to be full of that in the future.
And you can get stuck and burned out in between, which happens to all of us. Okay. So, like, even you're an expert at all this, and even you. And that's something that I'm really working with my students. I'm currently teaching my first podcasting class, how to get into the top 2.5% globally in 6 months, and having my second class in February. But we're working on what to do when you get stuck, because one of the things that I love to talk about in She's Brave is just take every day, just ask yourself, how can I show up brave today? What's one action that I can take? But literally, there are times when you feel like, I can't even do that today. So let's talk a little bit about the whole procrastination. And I think self-sabotage may go together with that. Let's talk more about that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is a great example. So say you have a student and they're really excited to create their podcast. And so we know where we want to go. And then the actions don't show up. So there's a few things that could be going on that cause procrastination, what looks like procrastination. But often it is your subconscious mind working against you. So we talk about it like self-sabotage, but it's funny because I know I want to get up today and record a podcast episode, for example. Why aren't I doing it? I just can't get myself to do it. Well, we will avoid anything our subconscious is reading as a perceived threat. And our subconscious reads things as perceived threats to avoid that actually aren't, but it's taking in information in that way. So, for example, a lot of people don't like to public speak. A lot of people will curl back from being very seen or showing up in the world. Well, your subconscious is reading that as not only scary, but actually life threatening. Like, don't stand out too much because then when you don't fit in with the crowd, back in the day, that part of your mind, the primal, like ancestral part of the brain that was purely for survival, you did need a tribe to survive. And if you were cast out from the tribe, that literally did mean death. That's all that had to happen.
Yeah.
That part of your brain, subconscious, has not updated. It doesn't speak the same language as your conscious mind, which is like, I really want to create a podcast and be in the world. So no matter how much you consciously desire that, if your subconscious mind is reading that information as literally dangerous, as a threat, then it's going to be working against you in the background rather than going where you consciously want to go. So there's a whole bunch of different techniques that I play with to change that. But part of it is just acknowledging and telling yourself, this is actually not a threat.
I love it. That's incredible. Just to be able to acknowledge, okay, like, I've got a primal part of my brain that's going to kick in sometimes. And that's kicking in right now. It's okay. Love that.
It's kicking
Beautiful.
all the time.
Mhm.
And think about when you drive to the store and you've been to the grocery store a million times, right? You are not consciously thinking, thank goodness. We kind of go on autopilot, right? And we
Yeah.
notice the red light, we know where to turn, but there's so much working subconsciously. Your conscious mind can hold one thought at a time. And sometimes that thought changes very quickly, right? But the subconscious has thousands of things going on. It's beating your heart. It's running your digestion. It's moderating your body temperature. Thank goodness it's doing so much beneath the surface.
Mhm.
One of those things is all of it is about survival as well.
Mhm.
So that's great. It's working for us. And we need to let it know, hey, this thing now, I get you're perceiving it as a threat, but I actually would like to move in this direction. And this sounds silly, but after this podcast, I can put my fingers on my pulse and I didn't die. Like stepping out and being in fit world, it doesn't kill us, but we really think it's going to. It feels like that. Or, oh my gosh, if I post this on social media, everyone's going to hate me or I might get haters. That comes from the part of the mind going, please don't stand out. That literally might be life threatening. And when we let it know, guess what? I can get through this. Whatever even worst case scenario is, I launch my podcast in this example and no one listens, or I post something on social and I lose 1,000 followers. Well, yeah, can you feel your pulse? Did you survive? It's not actually a threat. And with procrastination, one of the things with that, when we keep avoiding something, it reinforces to the subconscious that it is dangerous. So the easiest way to change that is to actually take an action towards it when it's not like really intense pressure to do it. So if your podcast is due on Friday, let's not wake up on Friday 2 hours before and go, oh my God, I have to record it. That's going to give your body a lot of stress. But if it's like, I would like to wake up and I know I'm feeling some like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, or I feel some procrastination coming on. You know what? I'm going to like make myself a nice coffee. I'm going to give myself permission to record something really bad. And that's
Love that answer. Love it. Permission to just do it badly.
to do it badly.
Why not?
That is key. Permission to do it badly. And then I'm just going to enjoy it. And I'm going to show basically my subconscious that not only is it not going to kill me, but I'm moving towards it. And your mind will start to get the message. Oh, if she's choosing towards this, then it's not a threat. And you can change it. You can rewire your subconscious pretty quickly that way.
I
Yeah.
agree because I feel like that's what I did when I took my podcasting class last fall. It seemed very much like a threat. And so I would just take, like you said, I kind of baby myself, like, oh, I'm going to make myself a cup of tea and then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to practice podcasting. Like, how scary is that? Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? You know, and somebody else is going to jump on. What if they hate me? What if they say you're a crappy interviewer in this practice session? What does that matter? So I was able to just do exactly what you said. But I think so many people just don't even know how to do that yet. So this is great that you're sharing this.
I want to share a reminder that I actually keep it right by me because this is where, I do my creation for my business and filming. This was an idea from Kathy Heller. She also has a wonderful podcast I love. And she said, keep something by your desk. So I have a picture of me as a baby. And I wrote a letter to myself. And it basically says, knowing full well that my thoughts can sabotage me, I'm going to finish this. I give you permission. I'm writing it to myself, to my little one. I give you
Yep.
permission to make something messy and mediocre, and I give you permission to play because your job is to simply show up, surrender, and be curious. The world needs you to. And
Wow.
every time I'm like, I don't really feel like recording that today. I read that and I think this little one, she was just going to go play for the day. She didn't try to record a perfect podcast. She was just going to show up and play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. Wow. Love it. Love it. Love it. And that really kind of covers mindset a lot too. So you've got that right there on your desk, that continual reminder of not having to be perfect. And I just love all your messages too. Just how like it doesn't have to be so incredibly hard. You don't have to like work yourself to death. In fact, that's really not the mindset that you want to be in.
Exactly. And it's not that there are days where, and people listening know this, where you might be taking a lot of action, but it's like flowing through you.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
that has a lot of outflow and you might be creating output from that, but there's not this like, I'm pushing something uphill, right? On those days,
Yeah.
even if I have things on my list,
Yeah.
I sense that and it feels like a ton of effort and like I'm pushing something uphill.
Hmm.
I don't effort that anymore. I allow myself to take a walk outside, even if it's for 15 minutes, sit and play with my dog, talk to my girls, and know that when I do that and I allow myself to receive, right, and be in that receptive state for a bit, then when I do go to create and produce and have output, it's going to be from a very different mindset and energy and feeling that's going to be a lot more effective.
Totally agree because there are those days and I think a lot of people operate every day from a space of frantic energy. So they're technically producing, they're getting a lot of tasks done, but if it's coming from this frantic energy, way of being, I think it's not really going to work so well.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. I mean, it really is running
That too, yeah.
fight or flight mode, right? Which we hear
Yes.
because we have a lot of adrenaline and things pumping through our body and it's not sustainable. And that's where people experience burnout or they're like, and now I need to be on the couch for 3 days in a row because I've just made it through all my holiday shopping. Rather than if we can mix in the feelings that we desire of taking care of ourselves and, okay, this is feeling too hard. Like what I know in hindsight, I'd love everyone to think of something that you thought you were procrastinating. And then in hindsight, you realized there was a piece of information you were missing, or like that thing you waited and it seemed like you were procrastinating, but then actually you got the information you required to make it a lot easier. Like, oh, had I not known that. And so sometimes we might think we're procrastinating,
Interesting.
but when it feels really difficult, what I've noticed, and now I've just learned to trust this because I've seen it so many times, is if I don't sit down and something's flowing out of me, whether it's a blog post or a video, then I acknowledge, okay, I know what it feels like to be really flowing and have it be easy. So, what is this? I ask a question and sort of just put it out to the universe because your mind also, the greater questions you ask, the greater awarenesses come your way. Your mind is designed to seek out answers and awareness when you ask a question. So I ask, what is this? And is there information I require? Or is there something I need to know here or someone I need to talk to that would allow this to move forward with more ease? And then maybe I take a walk. And then what often happens is I receive a phone call or I get information that that project isn't being created that way anymore. So glad you didn't start working on it. And I've seen that over and over. So I've learned to trust that sensation of if it's a lot of effort, there's a different way to do it. And so either you're missing information or there's someone to talk to, or you could take care of your body and take a moment to actually be present and feel some relaxation for you, whatever that is. And then go back to the thing with a very different feeling and energy so that you're not hustling and burning yourself out all the time.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. And I want to share a little story from the extreme analytical world. So I was what was called a performance analyst back in the day. I worked in finance. And so it was very technical mathematics and stuff like that. And there would be times where I would get really stuck. And we all did. You just would feel like you're banging your head against the wall in trying to get through this task. And what we were told to do was to step outside and take a 20-minute walk. And people would say, I don't know why it works, but it works. We don't really understand this. So I always did it and it always worked. So I'd step outside and walk for 20 minutes, come back into the office. And then all of a sudden that answer would appear or that, again, like somebody would call with what I needed or whatever it was. And it's just fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, but it's like that. And this is where I love to talk about movement of any sort creates momentum. So, in that, you chose a physical movement, like I'm going to go walk outside, and you're putting your body and your mind in a different environment. So, it's now receiving different cues. So, you're moving your body, but you're also moving your environment.
Mhm.
And that creates momentum forward. And in
Cool.
your world, you already were like, there's this problem, right? There's all these numbers and I can't figure it out. So you're already basically asking a question, whether you verbalized it or not, right? It's like,
Right.
what else is possible here? What is the
Yeah.
solution? And so you have that in your world, you start moving and it starts building momentum towards that possibility, towards that answer, towards that solution.
Yeah. Love it so much. Okay. You may have already answered it for us, but I'm going to ask you this question just to get it a little bit succinct and see if we missed anything. I love your social media, by the way. Like you post some really powerful, great, helpful information. And one of them is about procrastination. And it's 3 questions every woman should ask if she wants to stop procrastinating.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot of questions you could ask. One of the ones, I think it was the first question I wrote on there was, I might have phrased it differently, but is this actually something you truly desire? So we will procrastinate, we will put off something if it's not really where we desire to go, if it's not really aligned with our bigger vision of what we'd like our lives to be like, what we'd like the world to be like, what we'd like our relationships to be like. And it's so easy to get caught up in someone else thinks this is a good way to live. Well, that looks
Yeah.
pretty good on social media. Maybe that's where I want to go. And if it's not true for you, if you find yourself procrastinating, you may want to ask, like, is this actually what I desire? Or is
Love
this
it.
something someone told me I should want? Or something I think I should want because it'll give me X, Y, or Z? And if you are honest with yourself with that question, and that can be difficult sometimes. I've definitely gone after things and then been like, wait a second, I don't think that's actually what I desire. I just thought that should be what I want, you know? So ask yourself that if you find yourself procrastinating, is this actually what I truly desire?
I love this so much because I think this is a bigger problem today than it was 10 or 20 years because of us being fed so much information through social media, through all of our computers and our phones and our devices. We're literally spoon fed like what we should want. And I think we can literally lose track of what we really want.
Yep. I'm a big fan of Post-it notes. I like to put them on my mirror or near my computer. And I, about 18 months ago, started asking the question every day because I saw it on my Post-it note and I put it on a reminder on my phone as, what is true for me I have not yet discovered?
I love it.
And here I am, and I just really started asking. And at first I was like, oh, I kind of don't want to think about all the stuff I haven't yet discovered that it's true for me because I'm in my mid 40s. Shouldn't have I figured this out by now? And then I just sort of laughed at my brain doing those thoughts. And I thought, wow, I'm so excited to find out what else there is that I haven't discovered that's true for me. In asking that, in the next, this has been 18 months of asking, and I've had more new people and books and courses and ideas and perspectives literally come to me that from asking that question, I started to go, oh, that's more actually really lightens my world and makes me happy and enthuses me. And that's more actually what I desire, not this picture perfect thing that might really work for that person, but isn't it all what I desire? So it's such a key question. So if you guys like playing with questions, that is like my favorite one. What is true for me? I have not yet discovered.
Love it. Okay. What are the other 2?
Okay. The other one I would ask for procrastinating is this for now or is this for later or the future?
Okay.
So a lot of things we have, I often will have a to create list or a to-do list or something that I think I should be working on. And if it's not moving forward and you think you're procrastinating, I look at that task and I ask, is this for now? Or is this actually something for the future that's not ready to get created right now? Now, this is different than like your daily, I need to walk the dog, and that's for now.
Yeah.
But this is like putting energy towards writing a book or this project that you might really want to do. If it's not coming together easily again, this kind of theme, you've been procrastinating. And when you ask a question like that, what you're looking for is once you ask it, look for the energy of, does my world expand? So if I say, is this for now? And I get really expansive and the energy seems to grow or I feel lighter. That's a yes. And everyone experiences yeses differently. So you have to play with this.
Okay.
But is it for now? No. Then if it like kind of contracts your energy, then often that's a no. Like that's not what's going to add. So I look at things very simply. I ask questions. And if it expands the energy, gives me more life force, more enthusiasm, that's the direction I move in. And if my energy contracts or you feel a little more like not excited, or maybe you feel something in the pit of your stomach, everyone's kind of different and it's not really a good feeling, then that's probably something that you don't want to choose. It's a no for you right now. So that's where I ask things, okay, like everything has consciousness. Even a book has consciousness. Like every idea, it's all energy. And so you can literally ask things, is this for now? Is it something that's actually to create now? Or is it something for the future that I don't have to keep pushing and efforting here?
Love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Give us a third one.
Okay. Third one on procrastination. Like, what other information do I require here? And I know I mentioned that earlier, but like you said, when you were like working as an analyst, you required a different perspective. So that's where with procrastinating, I would look at what other information do I require here and basically give yourself a break. If I'm not procrastinating here, what am I actually aware of? And when we ask the question, you're going to get more information rather than assuming, well, I must be putting this off. I'm wrong. I got to judge myself. I can't move forward. I can't figure out the solution. Well, what if that weren't true? What if it's not procrastination? What if it's something you don't desire truly? What if it's for the future and not now? What if there's more information you need? Like we just debunked all of these myths that come from the conclusion of I'm a procrastinator. You're not a procrastinator.
Yeah. I love this so much. This conversation, Emily, I cannot believe how much I learned. This is just packed full of information. And I think a lot of us are going to be going back and listening to it again. Even me. It's my podcast, but it's so, so good. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast and helping women all around the world to become a better person, to get over those hard things. You have given us so many incredible, incredible tools today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And I love that your audience and women, we are busy, right? We have a lot going on. So my target has always been to give you nuggets, little tools that you can actually take and create quick change that's effective. I am a collector of things like that I love to pass on. So thank you for having me on this podcast so more people can hear them and hear a different perspective. And I would say, play with these things, like play with like a little kid would. Try this question, try that perspective on for you and see if it creates change. Like you're the experimenter and creator of your life. So have fun playing with all these things and creating what you desire.
Oh, love it so much. Emily, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Emily Evans Russell. And my website is the same, EmilyEvansRussell.com.
Nice. Great, great. We will be sure to include those in the show notes. This conversation has just been like dynamite. I love it so much. I cannot wait to connect with you again because I feel like my students, I think they need to hear from you.
I would love that. And I would love to share, my podcast is Shift Your Vibe to Thrive. And I would love to share you with my audience too in these conversations, just so we can reach more people. Because really we should be stuck in thinking we can't move forward or we're procrastinating or we have no momentum. Like there are ways to change it. And
and that's, what I saw too is the biggest issue with podcasting is really not talent or money or anything like that. It's literally just like, how do I get unstuck? And I think it's actually one of the big keys between making it in podcasting and not is just being able to get yourself unstuck or anything in life. It's a powerful toolkit that we all need. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you got something out of that episode. If you like this podcast, please share it with someone you know who'd find it useful or interesting, and subscribe so that you can listen to past and upcoming shows.